Welcome inside the WB Mason Coaches Report. Ryan Mayer here with the head coach of the Hofstra Pride baseball team, John Russo. And Coach, over the weekend you open up CAA play, go down to Fairfax, Virginia to take on George Mason, one of the teams ranked ahead of you in the CAA preseason. Come away with one win out of the weekend, but you were close in all three games. First, let's start off on Friday, a 6-4 loss for you guys, but it came late in the contest with a walk-off home run. What did you see from your team in that game that you really liked and some of the things that you didn't like?
No, the first thing is they had a really good starter, Anthony Montefusco, going against us, and he had a sub-1 ERA and coming off a pitcher of the week. And, you know, we did an unbelievable job against him. 5 innings of just really battling them, and we got him out of the game. And once we got him out of the game, we thought we really hurt them because it was their guy, you know, and we got him out. And we were able to battle with some runs and put up 3 runs off of him. And then they had a good reliever, Jay Kalish, came in and threw a nice job against us. And listen, you got to tip your cap some to them. They had 13 or 14 hits off of David. David had really good stuff. They just really battled him, and you know, David really never relented in, but they chipped away with 3 runs also, and they got ahead 4-3. And then the top of the 9th, we finally got to Kalish. Danny had a big 1-out double to knock in Dalton, who had got on, and you know, we tied up, had a lot of momentum. We had a chance to score. We left bases loaded. TJ flew out to right field to lead the inning, and then, you know, we brought in Jared Rogers, who we had a lot of confidence in. You know, 1 inning, 2, 3, 4 in the batting order. They're 3 best hitters, and you know, Jared just happened to make 1 bad pitch, and the kid hit it out of the yard. And you got to tip your cap sometimes. You know, it's all right. We didn't do anything to get beat. We just got beaten. So.
And Jared, so far this season, he's now 0-3 on the year, but as you said, it just seems like 1 bad pitch here and there that's really keeping him from getting over the hump and picking up that first win, really stringing some nice innings together.
You know, and I don't know if it was not official as of yet, but Jared threw yesterday the last inning, and on the last pitch of the game, he really hurt his elbow really bad. And our first assumption right now is Tommy John, you know, which is going to be a devastating thing to our pitching staff, because we were feeling like with being able to move him to the bullpen and maybe be our midweek starter, it was going to be really good for us. But he goes today to the doctor, and we're only hoping for the best. But even though we won, you know, yesterday's game, it was really a, you know, down type thing at the end of the game with Jared in his arm.
Now you go out Saturday, and it's another close contest for you guys. You actually go up in the first couple innings of the ball game, take a 3-1 lead. Tiedemann is pitching well into the 5th inning. Then he gets 1 out in the 5th, and it kind of started to fall apart a little bit. George Mason scores 4 runs, and you were never able to get those runs back going throughout the rest of the game, losing 5-3. What did you see from him before that inning and then in that inning that kind of changed a little bit?
Man, John Tiedemann had great stuff this weekend. Probably maybe the best out of any starter that threw on the weekend. And Dave Jesh was really good yesterday too. But John had really good velocity, a good slider. And you know, what happened, I think, was they, in the top half of the 6th inning, we had left the bases loaded with no outs, and it wasn't anything we had done wrong. You know, Dalton hit a liner at their second baseman, he makes a diving catch. Danny hits a liner to left fielder, he makes a diving catch. So George Mason came off the field down 3-1, but with a lot of momentum. And you know, John was cruising right along, and next thing you know, a 3-2 single to right field by Schaeferman, and then you know, a walk to the 4-hole hitter Eggleston, and we get an out on their 5-hole, but then their 6-hole gets a single to right field, and it's you know, 3-2, guys on 2nd and 3rd now. And you know, we get they had a 7-hole hitter, McBoy, had hurt us really bad the whole weekend. He gets a single up the middle. Next thing you know, it's 5-3. We hadn't turned our heads yet, and you know, John had a lot going, and he just got caught up in the momentum, and we couldn't slow it down. I mean, he was cruising so much up until that point, and then you know, Brian Verbitsky came in and stopped it. And then we, you know, continued to play well, but then they brought in their closer O'Grady for a 3-inning save, and he had as good a stuff as anybody we've seen all year. And you know, just a really bad matchup for a big, tall left-hander. He'll probably be a draft pick this year, and you got to really give him credit. You know, he shut us down, and give their coach credit. You know, he went to him in the 7th inning, and he thought he could get about 9 outs from him, and that's what he did, and the kids shut us down.
And in that game, it really seemed like this is something that we've talked about before. After the first 2 innings, you got to innings 3 through 7, where the starting pitcher for them started to make a couple of adjustments, and you guys just didn't seem to be able to figure it out. What needs to happen in those middle innings now to try and continue to adjust to the adjustments that the other team is making?
You know, what we're trying to do, and it's a process. We're trying to score one run at a time. Early on we're getting guys for 1, 2, maybe 3, and yesterday we had the big inning of 5, and we're just trying to basically score a run an inning, and I think we need to stay to that, never get off of pace of it. If we get a guy on, try to steal a bag or move a guy over and try to score one at a time and trying to get bunches. And a little bit it's all of us getting greedy with our offense going as well as it's been, and we feel like we're always 1 hit or 2 hits away from getting 3 runs in a hurry. So I think if we put our focus back on just settling for 1, it'll help out a bunch.
And in this contest, obviously you mentioned Brian Verbitsky coming in and shutting down that bottom half of the 6th inning, but the bullpen the rest of the way really shut down George Mason, kept you guys in the contest at that 5-3 mark. How proud have you been of your bullpen so far this season, not just necessarily in this series?
It's been unbelievable. I mean, we keep talking every week about Cody Norman and Joe Berg having great outing, and Barbarino got a strikeout yesterday, and John Schilt came out in the bullpen for the first time this year and was really good. He had a couple tough innings and got out of jams and threw really well, and we had a lot of confidence in him. And Brian Verbitsky took last weekend off, but back this weekend and threw really well. And I'm super excited. I have a lot of confidence in them, and then our starters are actually been doing better too. Going 5, 6, 7 innings, and I think things are starting to gel and come together in the right way.
Now you move to Sunday, obviously an 8-3 win for you guys. You pick up your first win in CAA play, and you take one of the 3 down at George Mason. You spoke about him a little bit earlier. David Jester, another solid outing for you guys. 5 innings, 1 hit, 1 earned, and 5 strikeouts. We've talked about his effectiveness so far this season, but what did you see with him mixing up his pitches against Mason?
I think that David offers us as just courage. He has no fear out there, and I don't think he knows the situation he's in. It was, we're down 2 games. It's a really big game, must win. You can't get swept the first weekend, and didn't seem to faze David at all. It didn't change his approach. He had a couple 3-2 sliders that he struck a bunch of guys out with, and really held runners well. Only gave up the 1 hit, but he hit a couple guys and was in a little bit of danger a few times, and just had great composure. And I can't be more proud of his last 2 starts. I don't know how you do too much better. He's only given up 2 hits in his last 11 innings, and or 3 hits in his last 11 innings, and he's given us a big lift.
Now, we spoke about George Mason having a very good pitching staff last week. How proud are you of your team to be able to go out and in a 3-day stretch put up 15 runs against a pitching staff that right now is at the top of the CAA and get some good quality hits off of their top 2 starters in Montefusco and Fulfill?
It was a big thing with the weekend. I mean, listen, we came away with 1 win and would have took 2 and had a chance at 3. And at the end of the day, we're real proud of how we played. We lost 2 games, but we battled hard for 3 games. And I think it would have been easier for us after losing the 2 close games on Friday, Saturday to fold on Sunday. And in turn, we looked at it as, hey, we've gotten through their top 2 guys. We got a chance to put some runs up on their 3rd guy, and we did. And I think Mason was probably waiting for us to fold a little bit, and right when we got on top of them, they seemed to take it a notch down, and they had enough. And it was a really good battle between 2 very good teams, and I think both of us have a strong chance of making the conference tournament. And I think as the year goes on, you'll see George Mason be towards the top 3 or 4 teams in this league.
Now, Coach, looking forward to this coming weekend. You have Virginia Commonwealth coming up here now to University Field. You get your first home CAA series of the year. What have you told you guys in terms of making sure you go out there this weekend and get a good start going at home, get some momentum going at your own field now that you're playing your first real series here this weekend?
Well, we've had the first 14 games on the road, and one thing we've done better is we won 5 road games this year. Last year, all last season, we had 4 road game wins, and so we're way ahead of that pace. But I think you have to come together as a good team on the road to win games, and I think we've done that every series. 7 of our 9 losses being by 3 runs or less, we've learned to really battle together. And the one thing we haven't learned to do is win the close games, and I'm hoping maybe coming home this weekend, having the last at bat, not always having to, put the pressure on, and letting the guys get in a little bit more comfortable situation. That'll help here with the close games and start us getting through, and, having the winning get a little bit contagious and be able to take it on, through the weekend and the next week too.
Now, VCU went 2-1 in their first weekend. What have you seen from them so far? Obviously doing some early scouting on them. What have you seen from them in terms of their strengths and weaknesses, some areas you guys can attack a little bit?
You know, they have a nice starter, Kyle Haynes. I think he'll start the first game. He has decent numbers, and he's been their Friday night guy most of the year, and has a good, works quick to the plate, works off his fastball a lot, and he's a really good Friday night starter. And Cabrera, I think, Cabrera as the Saturday starter, left-hander, is going to be a tough matchup for us. Lefties are a little bit tougher on our running game, and we're just going to continually add to try to put pressure. I know that their batting order got helped with Brett McComas was out injured last year. The year before, he was an all-CAA player, and he's a big presence in their 4-hole, and they have a guy, Joey Kuhas, in the 3-hole that's really having a good year right now. And those two guys will probably be the main focus of our week, is try to shut those two down in their batting order, and then just try to get on base and keep applying pressure. I think now it's getting to the point where people know we're trying to run and what we're trying to do, and they're starting to feel the pressure. And I think it was a big help against Montefusco and Fafil. Even though as good as they were, they had to change their game some, and then they were slide stepping a bunch, and they picked 20 times. I think Montefusco had 20 picks in the first 5 innings of the game, and yet we still got 5 bags on Friday night. And I think we're starting to figure it out some, put it together, and it's going to be a really tough battle. And you just got to try to win series right now, and so you have the tiebreaker over them with 6 teams being able to go in the tournament. And our main focus is protecting our home, and 2 of 3 is a must pretty much on this weekend, and every weekend we're at home.
All right, well, head coach John Russo, thanks for joining me here inside the WB Mason Coaches Report this week. Good luck this weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you for having me.